we're not going to shoot just yet. I'm going to go over the modifiers first. We're going to start with this octabox. So let's bring this down here. Yep. So Miguel, I know you know most of this already, but we're just going to cover it like real basic stuff. And Herbert, please bear with us if you already know this stuff. I'm just going to kind of cover it anyways. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to turn these off. We're going to look at one at a time. Because a lot of times people will ask, why do you use the octabox versus the rectangle? So I'll go back, I'll start over. I was talking about people will ask, why would we choose an octabox over a rectangle? And basically this is just shaping the light versus, the light intensity as far as the diffuser. I want to make sure we see this in this video. Okay, cool. So, I need a grid. Can you run and go get the grid for this? It's in the gray cabinet. So it spreads out in a round shape for the most part. So we want to look at the screen. Yeah, back up a little bit, Michelle. So you're going to step over here and do it this way. There we go. Okay. And the catch light will be a rounded shape in the eyes. And a lot of time that's pretty important to a photographer. So now we're going to put a grid on. Some people will ask, what's the importance of using a grid? And we're just going to show you what the grid looks like. I'm in the spotlight now. All right. Just goes on with Velcro. With Velcro here. I just want y'all to see what happens when a grid gets put on there. So notice how it gets a little bit dimmer. I'm going to go ahead and put it up. And it gets a little more concentrated instead of spreading way out. So a lot of times people will put a grid, and it can create a vignette effect in your shot without having to add it later. Softbox can be used as a single light setup. Keep it on the, yeah, there we go. Kind of walk a little bit forward. Okay, stay right there. So take a look and see how it's spreading on the screen. It looks pretty clear on that circle there. So I'm going to rip this off and try to do it quickly so you can see the difference. All right. It's going to spread a little bit more. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this one off, and we're going to walk over to the rectangle. Need the rectangle grid also. Okay, now we have the rectangle grid. So we would use the rectangle when we don't want any more spread of light. Like this softbox is going to, versus an umbrella is going to spread light a lot more. This will contain the light a little bit more, and we want it to go this direction. This will create a square-shaped catch light in your client's or your model's eyes. We'll come back to that. Here's a strip. So this is a small strip. It'll come on. It takes a second. Okay. So this one is more narrow than the rectangle. So people use the strips for different reasons. Sometimes we can use it in the back like a hair light. Sometimes we'll use a small strip if we only want to light our subject at a very thin light, like we don't want to light up any of the background, and we know the strip is just going to be contained into that one little section. I want y'all to see, here, go ahead and put that on. I want y'all to see what the rectangle looks like with the grid. So I'm going to go ahead and put the grid up on this strip so you can see the difference. All right, get out the way so you can see. Let's put my back up a little bit. So that's what it looks like with the grid. They're very, very easy to put the grids on and off. It's just Velcro tabs. And most brands have it that way. Like we've worked with other brands before, and just the Velcro grids to take on and off. Very simple to use. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on. I'm going to rip it off in just a second. Okay, grid on. All right. I wonder if the tablet could be making up for the brightness. They have that auto brightness feature on them. I didn't need it all the way on. So I hope that you can pick up how it narrows the light without that device trying to make up for the light. So we'll take some shots anyway with that octabox. So now that's with it off. Okay, let's move on down to the beauty dishes. Okay, what happened here? Two beauty dishes. We'll start with this one. The light will come on in just a second. Okay. So notice the spread. And we're just using model lights right now, just so you know. We've got the model lights at full power. Let me go ahead and bring it down a little bit. Actually, go here. Tracking on. So you can see the spread. With that reflector. Okay. So can you see this reflector in your view? There's a beauty dish reflector. So I want you to see what happens, because what's going to happen is the light is going to hit the reflector and then bounce back. So we're going to put this in. Hopefully you can see that in the view. Oh, yes. Okay. If you see that I'm going in and out, I'm moving the reflector in and out. A lot of times a photographer will want to use this when they're doing makeup shots, really close beauty shots. Round dish. Okay. So I'll put this back on. It goes on like an umbrella shaft. Real simple. Okay, so I'm going to turn that. So this beauty dish over here next to it is the same light, same, let's go full power. So I'm going to show full power on both of them. So I want you to take a look at how much spread the beauty dish can have because of the shape of the disc. Sorry, the shape of the bowl. So I'm going to turn this one on because this one has a grid on it. Notice how much narrow that light gets. And I'll turn this around and hopefully you can see. There's a grid. Okay, wait, like this. Now you can see that grid on the beauty dish. look how much it narrows that light and gets more concentrated in the center. That would be more for creative lighting, different specific reasons why you would want to put a grid on there. If you don't want that big spread, like we've done this before where we don't want the big spread of light and we really want to contain it more, then we added this grid on there. And this grid can really tell the difference. So this is grid on. I'm going to turn this one on. It takes a second for that model light to go. Grid off. Notice how it's a big difference. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and put the diffuser. They call it a sock diffuser. And we're going to put this on. And that should soften. That should soften up the shadows a bit. Okay. Now let's walk over here. We have a regular 7-inch reflector, and then we have this bowl type reflector here. So the purpose of this round type reflector here, it should contain the light more concentrated, more dense in the center, and it's not going to spread as much as this reflector here. So these two get a little confused, because why would somebody use that one over this one, and why would they use this one over that one? This is what the lights come with. So so just depending on the light manufacturer, they might come with a default modifier. This particular brand comes with this reflector here. So hopefully you can see it on the screen, but this round circle right here, the way it's shaped is going to make it more dense light in the center, more of a circle. And a lot of times I'll use that one when I want to circle light behind my subject. And over here, this will just blast. It'll just keep spreading. So hopefully you guys can see that in this video. It looks like you can, but take my word for it. It's more dense in the center there, less dense in here because there's more of a spread on this particular light over here on this side. So that one, and then we're going to switch so that you can see that. Let me get out of the way. Okay, that one, and then this one. Okay. Come up a little bit closer because then I can see where it gets more concentrated in the center. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to walk over here to these lights. Hi, Tori. Haven't seen you in a while. I know I can't hear you, but just know I know you're there. The snoot. We love the snoot. I'm going to take this off. Real concentrated circle, real defined. The closer I get, of course, smaller. More I step back, little spread, of course. So that's a snoot without a grid. They come. I'm going to show you here. These particular ones. This is not a Paul Buff brand, but it's a third party. But we like it because it fits the light. It also comes with a little handy little grid there. Comes with some color gels too. So, look, you can even see. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it in person. You can see the grids show up. Narrows the light. Okay. Let's step back a little bit. Without and with. These are cool for feathering light. So I like doing this, and then I'll feather it that way. Look how the light gets elongated there, so it spreads nicely. Kind of a neat little effect. I like to put those on the drapes, and we'll do that in a little bit. We're going to use this one on the drapes. Okay. Barn doors. These are cool to have. Barn doors will guide the light this way. There is a spill. You can see it spilling out of the sides here. But for the most part, it's going to block. And this particular brand, it's not a very expensive brand. It's kind of a low end. But you can see what's happening. If I want more light to go this way, and this way, it just starts spreading like a regular 7-inch reflector. So if you can see how this part is the regular 7-inch reflector and this is just an attachment that goes on. So if we want to keep some light from going that direction and we want to contain it, we can go here. So I'll use these for hair light. Also put these in the back, block it from hitting the face or anything like that, and this is just going to go in the direction you want it to. So there's also a grid for this particular model. Let me see. Okay. Again, I just want to remind you, we're just working with model lights just so we can see the light. That's with the grid on. It's still as small as we can make this particular light with that grid. Okay, so we can also create that circle in the background as well. Okay. So I'll back it up a little bit. So what like Shelley was saying, compare the two, because look how defined that is, and over here it spreads out a little bit more. So a lot of people won't care about the difference, but if you're really specific about the way a light is shaped and the way it hits a particular subject, you can get very specific with the light modifiers. So we try to have a variety to choose from. So if you need to use any of these, they're available. Okay. I'm going to take this little grid off. So that the barn doors right now have the grid on, and the snoot does not have the grid on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and turn all of them on. I'm going to show you the room. Okay. Okay, Michelle's just going to walk around and just kind of walk through. Anybody have any questions on these or would like to see, want to see any more of a particular one? Go ahead and chime in or unmute and say something. Okay. I'll walk over here for a sec. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little break. We'll keep the Zoom meeting live, but we're going to take a little break because we are going to do a setup. And then we'll take some snapshots with that and let you see how these photos will look going into the Lightroom app. Okay, so we'll be back shortly. Or you can actually watch us set up the next set. It'll probably take us between 5 and 10 minutes. If you want to take a break, if you want to leave and come back, that's fine. Or you can just kind of watch us what we're doing here. All right, so we can go ahead and put that down. Okay, so we're going to cover these light modifiers with some theme setups. Will in the future. So our next one is going to be color gels, and that one's super fun to do. So you get to see some colored lights come into the picture, and we're going to have to close up now. I know we went into overtime. And like I was saying, I do want to cover specific shooting styles in workshops so that we can see, like if we just do the one light setup with the Octo, but you can look at the schedule. We have it posted on the Facebook page. If you go there and like the page so that you can get the notifications for that. And then does anybody have any questions about today? Okay.
All right, so guys, hopefully we'll see you next week. It's going to get a little bit more creative next week. And future shirt. So we wanted to start out with the basic lighting, what these lights do, what they look like when they're turned on. And now future workshops, you're going to see them and how we use them for specific set types. Okay? All right, have a good afternoon, everybody.